I put on some makeup, some love and bake up, and pull the weight down from the shelf. Suddenly I'm Miss Beehive 1963, until I wake up and I turn back to myself.
Hey Genderqueer chat, it's Amelia again, and this week we're talking about jobs and how you find a job as a genderqueer person, presumably at a workplace that doesn't make you feel like shit and want to die. I'm not a wealth of information on this subject. I've been working the same job, which was also my first job, for the past little over 2 years now. And I only work part-time because I don't have a car and I live with my parents still, and they can't drive me to work every day of the week. But in general, I think it's always a good idea to kind of investigate the place you're applying to before you actually walk into an interview. Does your prospective workplace have other gender non-conforming people working there? How do they treat them? How do these people feel about that? Is it a workplace that generally uses a more binary system? Are there different dress codes for chicks and dudes and not a lot of give in between? Is there a gender-neutral bathroom around? I think big corporations can be bad about catering to genderqueer and trans individuals, and a smaller, privately run business is a better bet, but at the same time, there's not as much protection at a smaller workplace because there's no head honcho way up who calls the shots and decides who can be discriminated against and who doesn't. But that aside, assuming you have found a place that looks cool and you'd be happy working at, next is the interview process. And I think what you wear to an interview isn't usually isn't as important as people make it out to be, but you do want to look clean. Please wash before you go meet your potential boss. But yeah, khakis, button-down shirt. If you are a male-bodied genderqueer person who prefers to wear more feminine clothing, and we all know that's a bullshit term, I don't believe fashion can be feminine or masculine because it's just fashion, and it depends on the time and place as to what is feminine and masculine. But that aside, if you're wearing a skirt and you have a beard, people will be confused. And it's nice to fuck with society, but your employer probably doesn't want to be fucked with. And you've got to decide whether you will feel really uncomfortable in button-down and khakis versus just a standard pencil skirt and blouse. I think you have to go with what you feel most comfortable with because they're hiring a person, not just a set of skills. And if they are going to treat you like shit for being yourself, well, then they don't deserve you. And that might not be a great comfort when you're sitting in the unemployment line, but as for where I work and whether or not they're accepting, I work at a kennel, a greyhound rescue, which isn't really your standard office job. So everyone's just wearing nasty, baggy clothing that's okay to get covered in mud and dog shit. So, and no one wears makeup because you're getting all sweaty and gross and it just look bad. as for whether or not they're accepting, I am not out at work because I am part-time. I only work between 8 to 16 hours, 1 or 2 days a week. And I've worked with a lot of the people I'm working with for several years, and I like them a lot, and I think they read me as a female lesbian, but that's okay. I don't feel the need to make a big issue of coming out at my workplace right now, considering that I'm only there for a short amount of time, and there aren't really... We just have one bathroom for everyone, so no issues there. I like it a lot, and I think that's one of the places that's perfect for a genderqueer person, because there aren't really genderized expectations. I mean, my boss is really cool. I look up to her a lot, and I feel like if I did come out, then she would be like, whatever. My other coworkers might have a bigger, not an issue, but they might be more like, heh. But I don't feel like anyone would be horrible and nasty to me. I think that also has to do with the fact that I look like I'm 12, though. I'm actually 17, in case you were wondering what a 12-year-old was doing on this channel. But yeah, I look like a kid, so people treat me like a kid, and people usually don't pick on kids. Adults usually don't pick on kids based on their perceived gender identity or sexual orientation, because that's kind of shitty. So I have a bit of leeway there, but I feel comfortable at my job. I don't feel the need to inform them of my gender identity. In the future, at a different job where I'm working full-time, well, we'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting, to say the least. Sorry I couldn't be more help on this topic, but bottom line, do not work for any close-minded assholes. They don't deserve you. You don't deserve to be treated like shit because of who you are, because of your gender identity, because that's stupid and fucked up. And don't settle for working for an asshole just because you need the money, because it never turns out well. That is all.